Stay City Apart Hotels. Half apartment, half hotel. Warm beds, comfy sofas, and fully equipped kitchens. We offer guests more, so you can do more. Cook, sleep, work, play. Welcoming, accommodating, and big beds for jumping. Smart travellers choose Stay City because Stay City is the smart choice. Stay City, half apartment, half hotel, all across Europe. Save 10% every time you book at Stay City.
We're delighted to extend the partnership with Go Ahead Ireland. They're an organisation that serves communities all over Dublin and helps serve our club members around the county, and it's been a brilliant partnership for the last 3 years, and we're delighted to extend for a further 2 years.
Like us, Dublin GAA are embedded in their community, so it was a really natural fit. For us, it was important to find a partner that was inclusive, but also had that community identity, and that's exactly what we found in Dublin GAA. Since we started the partnership, they've been really easy to work with, and we're really excited to continue the journey together.
In those 3 years, we actually accomplished a lot with Dublin GAA. We were privileged to be able to work with both local and national charities with them, as well as working on several GAA initiatives.
This partnership allows us to support Club League and Championship with initiatives such as our Dubs TV live streaming platform. We try and stream as many games as possible, particularly during the Championship season where we can from a logistical point of view around grounds, and that is something we will continue to try and deliver over the coming years and keep enhancing Club Championship product and club leagues around the county across all 4 codes.
In the coming months, we're going to be continuing growing our services. And while we do that, that means that we'll be serving more GAA community clubs than ever before.
This year alone, we're going to be introducing the Development Fund for Accessibility as part of our partnership, which is going to see core infrastructure at Dublin GAA developed. In the summer, we're also introducing the Go Ahead Ireland Dublin LGFA Summer Skills Camps, which will be held in July and August.
As Dublin's best performing public bus operator, we're going to continue to work really hard on delivering for our customers and our communities.
Hello folks and welcome to Parnell Park. It's day 2 of the Go Ahead Dublin Senior Football Championship. We have a Tier 1 clash between St Sylvesters and Ballinteer St John's. It's thrown in just a couple of minutes' time. I'm Shane Stapleton. I'm joined by 2001 All-Star Coleman Goggins. Coleman, we'll just start off. It's one of those days. Beautiful pitch here. It's like a snooker table. Mm-hmm. We have the fresh fades on show from all the players as well. What's it like that first day of championship for yourself over the years?
Yeah, look, it's always a big day, whether you're here watching or whether you're taking part, in terms of just getting up and running. I suppose for both teams, what you're trying to do on the opening day is work out a bit of the dirty petrol, I suppose. Try and get yourself into a bit of a frame of mind that it's gone into championship. You have to think that these guys finished up league football back end of July, mid-July. They've probably gone away on breaks or holidays. Some of them probably have stayed away. Those guys have come back with niggles and injuries. So you're really going out first day trying to see, well, where are we at and can we put a bit of pressure on the opposition team and try and get a couple of points onto the board. But look, championship is what it's about. What better day can you have for it? Sun splitting the stones. You mentioned the field is in great condition. Slight breeze maybe blowing down towards the golf course end, which is the far end as we look here. But other than that, like, perfect conditions for two teams to really go at it and give it a lash.
Yeah, and if you look at last year, I mean, St Sylvesters, they'd been promoted in 2022. They retained their senior status last year after a relegation playoff against Temple Oak, winning that by 11 points. Ballinteer, on the other hand, their only win was also against Singer. But other than that, like, would you see these teams come in fairly evenly pitted against each other?
Yeah, in the league earlier this year, Sylvesters won by 4 points when they met, but they probably dipped after that, Sylvesters, whereas Ballinteer probably went the other way in that they finished second in the league. They were probably in the shakedown for a league final game against Nafina, but the back end of the league, there was a couple of matches not played, which ultimately cost Ballinteer a shot at a Division 1 title, which would have been a great achievement, having never won it before. So maybe Ballinteer, given the depth of talent they have, the young lads that are coming through, they maybe have a little bit more based on their league performance than potentially where Sylvesters are at. But then Sylvesters are one of those clubs who have had great players over the years, have had great potential over the years. They've won Dublin Senior Football Championship that they won when Brian Talty was in charge of the group. So there's a group of players surely coming through in Sylvesters that are going to challenge coming down the track. So yeah, you're right, to some degree it's quite even when you look out on it. Obviously, I'm wearing a bit of a Ballinteer hat, I suppose. But from a Ballinteer perspective, they probably have enough guys coming through that have matured a little bit to try and push on and at least get a win in the opening day of Championship.
Okay, well, let's start off by looking at the teams. We'll start off with Sylvesters, and there's been a couple of changes. We see Michael Shield, he isn't togged out. I think he is there somewhere. But just reading through the team, Simon Murphy's in goals. The full back line is Jack Boyne, James Cotter and Sean O'Donnell. Paddy White is number 5. Then there's a change at centre-back. Josh Bannon, who's been involved with Dublin panels in recent times, he drops onto the bench. Kevin Mulderrig is in. Dan O'Leary, there's a Dan O'Leary wearing number 7 on both teams as it happens. Carl Archibald is number 8 alongside Stephen Cunningham in midfield. The half forward line sees Ronan Palmer, Sean Gibson and Dylan Connolly, and the full forward line is Keane Whitney, Pierce Donoghue and the very talented Alex Wright. On the Ballinteer side, there's a change in goals. Aidan Clabby comes into the goals instead of Sean Parker. Clabby very known for hurling for the club over the years as well. Very good hurler. Let's see how he does in the goals today. Ian O'Hare, Ben Millist and Nicky Deverick in the full backs line. Colin Fitzpatrick, Matthew Gardner and Dan O'Leary. Then at midfield, Owen Fitzpatrick and Joseph Sweeney. There's a change at wing forward for Ballinteer St. John's. Seamus Fenton comes in for Tom Ahern. Then you've Donnacha Carey and David Devereux, who's brother of Nicky and played for Wexford in the past. And a full forward line of Luke Cullen, Luke Brannock and Ronan Cullen.
Yeah, just looking out, they seem to be setting up, as you've called out there, no significant changes. The key thing here is the midfield battle. Can you get on enough balls to try and feed your inside line? Ballinteer certainly have a threat in Luke Brannock up front. Was unlucky to get injured earlier this year. But the flip side of that is in Sylvesters and Alex Wright. They certainly have a hitman too if they can get ball in. So it's about getting ball, feeding the forwards and see how you get on.
Yeah, Eamon Drumgool English throwing the ball in. Straight away it's a free won by Donnacha Carey. He's going to need a small bit of treatment. Like as a Ballinteer man, what sort of opening are you looking for here, or how do you expect the team to even set up?
Yeah, I guess I was lucky to be here last night. I seen the Kilmacud Crokes and Skerries game, and one of the refreshing things about it was, to Skerries, in fairness to them, they left 3 up, so they had 2 inside, 1 out around the 45. So as things broke down or they turned over Kilmacud, they were able to break out at a bit of pace because they had 3 options up front. They had guys coming off the shoulders. So what I'd like to see from Ballinteer is, Sylvesters, they're not inter-county champions, they're not Dublin senior football champions. They've come up out of Division 2, survived a relegation battle last year. So you nearly say, look, let's match up man on man here. Let's see if we're good enough to take on our individual battles. We can adapt then as we go forward depending on what way it plays out, but let's go at it one-on-one rather than dropping into any kind of system of play, and we can suss it out as we go along.
Matthew Gardner on the ball here. Pops it off to Dan O'Leary. Sylvesters looking very disciplined at the back. They really have numbers set up in banks of 6 and 7.
Yeah, so they've left 1 in. So obviously they're set up in terms of lines. They've 2 dropped in front of the full back line and then probably 3 across. So it's a matter of when they come over the 45, what press they put on. So you can see they're backing off rather than meeting, and that gives Ballinteer opportunity then.
Matthew Gardner to Dan O'Leary again. Being very patient so far, Ballinteer. Colin Fitzpatrick. And now Luke Brannock trying to inject a bit of pace but gets turned over, and I suppose that's always the danger when you go into numbers. Paddy White winning the free there, and it looks like David Devereux could pick up noting straight away.
Yeah, it might be a tick rather than a card. He'd be unlucky if he picks up a card. It didn't look like it merited that. Surely I can see that there was a stop put on Sylvester's play. The numbers behind the ball, great. It works there in terms of a turnover. The big question is, can you add a bit of pace when you're getting out? Yellow card very early for David Devereux. Probably unlucky to pick it up, but can maybe understand where it's coming from referee.
Is that a referee just trying to lay down the law straight away?
Maybe, but I don't think there was any law to lay down there. I think he caught him, so you say to him, look, next time you're in the book. But look, it's done now. Card is given. He'll have to be a little bit more careful in terms of his tackling for the next 50 plus minutes.
Glenn Hasley on the ball now. Paddy White nice and patient on the ball. Ronan Cullen with the turnover, unlucky to spill it out of play. I mean, both teams obviously trying to be very precise with the ball, move it over and back, and one little slip and you turn it over.
Yeah, but it's all a little bit pedestrian. It's over and back. They haven't injected any bit of pace into it. Admittedly, it's early, so they'll still get a chance to try and do that. But it's can you find a pass that's going to penetrate a little bit? There is a lot of bodies in around the middle, certainly, so it's going to be more difficult. But how many times are we going to see boot the ball here to try and open it up a little bit? Go forward ball, I mean.
Yeah. Will you be called naive if you do try and pump it forward too often?
Well, you'll certainly be called out at half time on the stats, that's for sure.
It's a free one by Sylvesters. Alex Wright is trotting over about 35 yards out at the far side.
Yeah, probably has the benefit of the breeze behind him, but you can see the flag just maybe over shoulder there is blown towards that bottom end. Still a difficult kick though. Right sided, right angle from him in terms of a right footed kicker. Beautiful strike.
Well, he's measured it beautifully straight over the bar, 35 yards out. Hit on Clabby knew straight away that was over the bar. He went to collect the next ball, so that's an opening score for Alex Wright and for St. Sylvesters.
Yeah, lovely strike. He put nothing on it, just follow through on the ball, kick out the middle of the field, go pressed by Sills.
Paddy White collecting the ball from the break. The break from kick out is going to be massive today. Sean Gibson back to Ronan Palmer. A bit of pace injected now by Sean O'Donnell. Dan O'Leary holding on and recycling. Back again to Ronan Palmer. Jack Boyne now. And Ken Archibald. Stephen Cunningham to Paddy White. You can hear the calls for width from the sideline here. But Sylvester is happy to hold on to the ball for now.
Yeah, great hit from Nicky Devereux, very experienced player for Ballinteers. A couple of All-Ireland medals in his pocket, just stood up, took the hit. See if Ballinteer have any bit of pace to move out with.
Seamus Fenton with the ball now. Pops that back to Matthew Gardner. Staying patient and back to Ian O'Hare. All the while, Sylvester's keeping just one man up front here, Luke Brannock, if they can, or I should say Pierce Donoghue, if they can turn Ballinteer over. Sylvesters aren't leaving many gaps at all here, are they, Coleman?
No, but part of Ballinteer's problem is they're all nearly ahead of the ball, so there's no one able to come through at pace off a shoulder to try and break the line, so everything is coming back before they get a chance to go forward, so it's quite individual in terms of what they're trying to do. It might work here, and does.
Does indeed. Excellent strike from Owen Fitzpatrick there. He just took it on himself that I have to make a burst here, and difficult angle for a right footer, but Coleman, he was more than a match for it.
Yeah, I mentioned it's a bit individual, so he stepped around his man and took it on himself. So part of the problem is that poor kick out turns it over to Ballinteer. But he had to take it on himself, but did well to finish it, in fairness to him.
Almost a turnover for Sylvesters. Luke Brannock with the ball. He's got that pace, but he's surrounded and he's hounded out of it. Joseph, or I should say Stephen Cunningham, turning him over eventually. And now can Sylvesters break at speed? Dylan Connolly's trying to inject just that. And again, that turnover in the crucial area of the pitch when they had a Ballinteer going backwards.
Yeah, very similar to the turnover they orchestrated themselves. Lovely pick up from Dan O'Leary coming out, but then turns over the ball.
Luke Cullen now. Really, really nicely finished by Cullen. And again, it just shows you get that turnover, and Sylvesters, they're obviously, because they're piling forward, you're going to be vulnerable at the back.
Yeah, and you mentioned obviously kick-outs being a key part of the game. Obviously, it's so important to try and secure possession from your own kick-out. But the other side of that is you hear them shouting here, mind the ball. You turn over the ball, as you rightly said. You give opposition opportunity to create a scoring chance.
Keane Whitney now with the ball. Nicely played inside for Luke Brannock. Brannock looking to draw the defenders. Pops it off very nicely indeed. And for a finish, it's ended up in the back of the net from Alex Wright.
Yeah, look, just looking at it again here. Ballinteer very undecided on what they were trying to do. The ball bounces in. Goalkeeper maybe could have got a hand on it. Very brave, in fairness, from Dylan Connolly to go in after it and get his hand to stick it into the net. A goal out of nothing really, but a bit of indecisiveness from a defensive point of view from Ballinteer.
And it just showed Alex Wright in the right place at the right time, just following up that play, and initially involved, and Luke Brannock with a nice ball over the top. Dylan Connolly did very, very well. Unlucky, and Aidan Clabby, I suppose, look, that's a difficult one for him to cut out and just kind of get caught in no man's land.
Yeah, and he just defensively, they didn't press the guy on the ball. They weren't sure whether to go with the runner on the near side here, and in fairness didn't pick up the runner over the shoulder on the left side. It popped over to him, bounced nicely for him to get a hand on it. Clabby kind of caught between the rock and the hard place, but in fairness to Connolly, brave to go in and stick his hand on it, gets a great reward in terms of a 3-pointer.
And as well, if you go back to the kick out as well, they could have gone short, but Simon Murphy kicked long, they won the break, and then they're straight in for a goal. So sometimes the value of going long is there.
Yeah, 100%, because you're cutting out 6 or 8 players who are trying to, squeeze that kick out. There's a huge value in obviously putting boot to ball. In that instance, it's the goalie's kick out. Lucky getaway there, dropped the ball, no Ballinteer man able to capitalise.
Yeah, and Paddy White now composed on the ball, as he always seems to be. From a Ballinteer point of view now, how do you just settle yourselves again after conceding a goal like that, one that feels like it was quite avoidable?
Yeah, I think you need to put that to the back of your mind there, because ultimately it was a chance goal rather than anything magical that Sylvesters created. So you got to just stick to what you were trying to do.
David Deveron now has the ball, pops it inside to Luke Brannock, and inside midfielder Joseph Sweeney. A goal was very much on there, but I suppose they'll take the point and settle down again.
Yeah, great move again. Probably an earlier opportunity to give the foot pass. Devereaux passed it inside, and then a great run through the middle from Joe Sweeney. Got onto the end of it. Looked to just knock it over the top of the keeper in terms of a lob into the goal. Got the angle a bit wrong. Maybe could have stepped him and kept it low into the net. But again, you're clear that there's going to be goal scoring opportunities for both teams. Could be critical as to the ones you take and the ones you leave behind.
Carl Archibald showing very well for that kick out there, making life easy for Simon Murphy, who found him very well. Stephen Cunningham now composed on the ball. Paddy White, as ever, feels like he's been on the ball about 30 times already in the opening 11 minutes. Fullback James Cotter now. Back inside to Keane Whitney, who again transfers it off to Stephen Cunningham. And we've got the switch of play across to Dan O'Leary. Just one man inside, Luke Brannock. Sorry, Pierce Donoghue. And again, dangerous ball, and it's just causing consternation in that Ballinteer area once more. And this time Aidan Clabby's there to mop it up. Yeah,
way too easy for Donoghue to cut across the end line there. Like, there's 2 Ballinteer defenders needed and put a mark on him in preventing him from making that angle. Flips it across the goal. Ballinteer hand can ultimately knock that into the net. Goalkeeper comes out and manages to get a finger on it through Clabby, and Ballinteer get away with it, but just too easy in terms of breaking that defensive line for both teams, really.
And Pierce Donoghue is looking a real threat back there.
Well, he's showing hard. He's on his own all the time inside, but he is showing hard when given an opportunity where the ball is coming his direction.
Now Owen Fitzpatrick on the ball. Sends it back outside to Ian O'Hare, who in turn finds Matthew Gardner. Ballinteer working it around the house here. Definitely a little tug there from Paddy White.
Yeah, opportunity. There's 35, 40 metres out from goal, so there's an opportunity here. Will someone take it on, or will they look to go short? Brannock will be the expectant kicker. Looks to be standing over it all right. Ballinteer, they'll be happy enough. They concede a soft goal. They've managed to get themselves not back into the game, but to create a couple of scoring opportunities. Opportunity here to tie it up. Great strike.
And to be fair, obviously that second goal chance, then they almost conceded there again. But since they did concede, they've popped over 2 points in a row. So the ship is very much steadied.
Yeah, and they've managed to put scores back to back. So their first couple of scores are back to back. That's another 2 back to back. Sylvesters, scored after the 4th minute, and then the goal came after 9 minutes. So they're not having that consistency in terms of their play. But here's where the space is.
And Donoghue again is the target. Ben Millis, who's had Dublin County experience in the past, he's tight on him and forces a shot to be dropped short from Donoghue.
Yeah, good one-on-one battle, but let it in front of the forward, give him an opportunity. If he'd managed to get it first time, then Millis is under big pressure, so did well to try and put pressure on the kick. Clabby comes away with it. But there's not a huge amount of support for him when he gets the ball inside there. He's very much isolated, so it'll fall to him to try and create something or to come back out the field.
Donegal Carey back to Owen Fitzpatrick again, who switches the point of attack.
Yeah, you can probably see the system of play. So Sylvesters aren't too concerned with getting contact on the ball here from up to the 65 or maybe to the 45. So it's about getting into a system. There's 6-8 fellas behind the 45 now. So the idea is let's contact them when they get inside the 45. So it allows Ballinteer build to a point. It's just a matter of are they able to implement the defensive plan they have. There's an advantage there, I think, for a high tackle.
Yeah, referee Eamon Drumgool English going back. Owen Fitzpatrick has the ball now.
So, from a neutral point of view, and you could argue maybe I'm not neutral, but in watching it with a neutral eye, I don't at times understand why maybe Sylvesters wouldn't try and squeeze. They have the breeze behind them. The Ballinteer kicker is going to drop a little bit shorter because of that, so you could push up a little bit, try and force a turnover much higher up the field, which then gives you opportunity to get a score a lot quicker. Allowing Ballinteer to have the ball in front. Okay, they're in control, they know what they're doing, but it's a little bit, it's not progressive enough in terms of trying to go and win the game. It's trying to just restrict rather than actually back yourself a little bit more and be a bit braver around it. It could work out well in the end for them, Shane. I could be talking out my hat here, but that's how it looks at the minute.
It's easy to be wise after the event.
There's certainly easy talk up here too.
Yeah. Donegal Carey now across to Matthew Gardner, and he's blocked down. It's a foot race here now between Paddy White and David Devereux, and eventually it's mopped up by Ballinteer, and they're on the march once more, and 3 Sylvesters players are left up the field out of position. So this could be an opportunity now for Ballinteer.
Yeah, but look, a great block down. Like the kick was telegraphed. There's definitely opportunity here.
Goal on. Oh, fantastic save from a Ronan Cullen effort there. Really should have buried that.
Yeah, 100%. It's end-to-end stuff. Sorry, cutting across. There's a free in there, but it's end-to-end stuff in terms of the opportunity. Sylvesters break out. Again, great move. Turns inside onto his right foot. Needs it to go on the ground. Kicks it straight into the keeper's chest. But in fairness, keeper stands up. The bad foul there in terms of the free awarded in. But, a response from Ballinteer. They are getting opportunities, even though Sylvesters have numbers behind the ball. They're not tracking all the runs, so there is opportunity. Well finished by Brannock. At least they get something from that goal chance. Second one they haven't managed to take, though.
And at both ends there are goal chances here. So, both teams seem to be setting up relatively defensively when the opposition gets it, but there are chances. We've seen it on both sides.
Yeah, 100%. So they're still, while there's numbers behind the ball, maybe they're not as aggressive in the tackle, so it is leaving space for opportunity for goal chances.
And once more, it's a turnover high up the field. Donegal Carey with the ball this time to Brannock. And Brannock buries it. Again, just shows if you can aggressively turn the ball up the pitch, when you have that talent up the field, fantastic finish.
Yeah, but that's what we were just talking about. So you can sit back and hope something happens, or you can actually press the ball. And in fairness to Ballinteer, they pressed the ball there. They've had 3 goal chances, third time lucky, and it fell to Luke Brannock, and he stuck it into the top corner of the net there. Ballinteer starting to dominate in terms of getting those turnovers and then making hay when they get the turnover. Mention the fact that Sylvesters only have 1 guy up front, so when it does break down, they don't have the same level of opportunity or options. Plus, as mentioned, they're conceding a lot of space to Ballinteer. Ballinteer oppositely are putting a press on a lot earlier.
Well, it's a throw ball at the 21. And again, it breaks in the area. This time, the ball ends up in Sylvesters' hands with Sean O'Donnell. And it's a free out for a tug. But if you're looking at this from a St. Sylvesters' point of view, they've only got 1 score from play. They've got 1-1 overall, and they have had other opportunities. Pierce Donoghue does look dangerous inside, but they're very much on the back foot now. Yeah,
they are on the back foot. They probably need to commit a little bit more in terms of trying to go and win the game. So, yes, defensively, it's the bedrock and lots of stuff that you're trying to do right. But because you only have one route out up front, that needs to be perfect every time. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself potentially turning over the ball.
Carl Archibald, he's eventually fouled there, carrying the ball into traffic. But Ballinteer overdo it a little bit. That's Ronan Palmer with the ball now. Referee wants it taken again. Which gives Sylvesters an opportunity to set up, or Ballinteer a chance to set up. Palmer goes long inside to Pierce Donoghue. Really nice work by the Ballinteer defence there. That's going to be difficult for Pierce Donoghue all day.
It is, yeah, but watch now, where's the press going to come from Sylvesters here? So they've got to the middle of the field without anyone touching them. So this is the problem that they have in terms of putting a stop on.
Seamus Fenton soloing through. Wow, another brilliant save from Simon Murphy. This time from Luke Cullen, and eventually it's bundled over the bar by David Devereux.
Yeah, unbelievable again. Just a great hand pass that opened it up. Cut inside. Keeper does brilliantly again to stand up there. 4-goal chance. Simon Murphy used his chest for the second time to keep it out. Great follow-up by David Devereux to knock it over the bar. Ballinteer very dominant in terms of the possession now and the scoring opportunities.
Again, good work from Ballinteer once again getting a turnover, and St. Sylvester just badly needed a score any way it can come. Seamus Fenton playing the ball into Luke Cullen, who had that goal chance a moment ago. He's turned over this time by a combination of Stephen Cunningham and looks like Glenn Hasley. Now carrying the ball up the field is Alex Wright. They'll definitely want to get him on the ball a little bit more. Big booming attempt from Dylan Connolly, but unfortunately drags it wide. Again, they're just really crying out for that score at this stage.
Yeah, is that the first wide we've had?
It's the first wide, yeah. We've had block shots, we've had shots dropped short, but that's the first wide.
Yeah, it is a pot shot, you're right, I suppose, and they're lacking that little bit of cohesiveness up front. So that they're, defensively they have a structure, they get out a little bit, but then they're just lacking that out ball. You mentioned about trying to get Alex Wright on the ball, but he's so far back the field that when he picks it up, there's not a scoring opportunity on. So personally, from a Sylvester's point of view, they probably just need to tweak the game plan a little bit to give them a second option up front. I think after the concession of the goal, Ballinteer have weathered it well and are a little bit more understanding of the system they're trying to play than maybe Sylvesters are right now.
There's 5 points between the teams at the moment. And in terms of rejigging for St. Sylvesters, would be putting Alex Wright further up the pitch, that alone, would that change things, or what would you do?
I think there probably needs to be a change of mindset in that, we're playing Ballinteer, but how many championships have Ballinteer got? They don't have any. Are they as good as us? Well, we'd like to think we're able to match them in most departments. So maybe there's a question of, can we push up on them for 10 minutes? We're 10 minutes to half time, we're down by 5 points. Let's see if we can put a squeeze on in the last 10 minutes. We do have a little bit of a breeze behind us, so rather than let them saunter out with the ball to the middle of the field, let's see if we can get a turnover, and then we have 6 or 8 fellas in the play, as opposed to just Pierce O'Donoghue up the field. Great kick out.
Really good and well collected also by Owen Fitzpatrick. And when you're playing out from the golf course end as well, you're also playing up a hill. Anyone who's ever played here would know that, and also the wind, and a goalkeeper who probably hasn't played too many times in Championship for Ballinteer. It does seem like something that Sylvesters could go after. Yeah,
100%. Look, I know it's not a gale force breeze there by any stretch of the imagination, but it's just a different way of trying to approach it as you're coming into half time. The game is still there for them, so it's not like the game is lost by any stretch of the imagination. But I just think you could be a little bit more aggressive in terms of the press on the ball, which then puts Ballinteer under a little bit of pressure. So right now they're able to go left and right and over and back without anyone getting a glove on them. They don't technically need to get any more scores. They can win the game or go in a half time 5 points up. So it's just about, can we apply a press a little bit higher up?
Nicky Devereux on the ball now, playing it across to Owen Fitzpatrick. Winds up for a shot but drops it disappointingly short. And the keeper, I think he got a hand to that. He was unsure where that was going to end up. So Simon Murphy said, eventually I'm going to put a hand on it, but it gives away a 45 to Ballinteer. Yeah,
weak effort from Owen Fitzpatrick there, but got a bounce in terms of the sod being that hard. The grass is trimmed right to the bone there, so it took a bounce. In fairness to Murphy, he's been brilliant in the couple of saves he's made. Got another hand on that to push it out past the post. But again, just it gives Ballinteer, it gives an easy shot away. So Sylvesters have 14 players behind the ball, yet Owen Fitzpatrick is able to take 5 seconds before he gets the shot away. So they're just lacking that intensity, which is giving Ballinteer chances.
Luke Brannock seems to have just shoved it out a little bit to the right and wide. So that's a first wide for Ballinteer St. John's. But is it something that you can change on the field, this mindset, the idea that we'll push up a little bit more?
Yeah,
or does it have to come from the sideline?
No, I think maybe if the sideline are saying this is the defensive structure, maybe they have to give you latitude to go and change. But I think as players on the field, there's a license there, or at least an opportunity to say we need to do something a little bit different here. So I think players can take a bit of ownership, but certainly from looking on from the sideline, they probably get a clearer picture because they're not involved in the game, so they can say, try this lads, let's see what happens. Great pressure on the ball. The difference in pressure, like look where it's happening, where they're turning them around. Yeah,
Glenn Hasley was under pressure there, eventually does win the free, which Paddy White takes nice and quickly. Carl Archibald on the ball now at the far side. Now can they inject a bit of pace? Dan O'Leary plays the ball onto Ronan Palmer. Here's an opportunity now for Carl Archbold. Throws the ball back to Alex Wright, who drains it over the bar with his left foot. Really nice score, and one that they badly needed.
Yeah, great score. Got the right man on the ball, worked it into the corner, and then threw it back out to Alex Wright, who knocks it over the bar. He's a lovely style in terms of his kicking. There's no stress on the ball. It's very natural, very fluid in terms of his shot selection and then how he takes those scores. Important one for Sylvesters, just gives them that foothold again, and they're pushed up again on a kick out.
And this time it is turned over straight away. They did press up that bit harder. Ends up in the hands of Carl Archibald, who puts that over the bar. Really nice strike there. And it just shows you the gains you can get when you do press up. We can see it here on screen.
Yeah, 100%. So, put the goalkeeper under pressure. He's not, we're not talking all-star material here. So he's going to have to fight to get his kickouts away. So can he, one, be space created? And when he gets it away, what's the press like?
This time Ballinteer do get it away. Matthew Gardner on the ball now. And it's sent backwards to Aidan Clabby. Feeds it across to Ben Millist, who gathers it at the second attempt. Nicky Devereux now. And Dan O'Leary. Owen Fitzpatrick looking to pop it over the top for Luke Cullen. Cut out really nicely by Sean O'Donnell. That was very important.
Yeah, well read. It looked like the cut was going to make it inside, but Luke Cullen, before he could get his hands on it, well marshalled defensively. Chance for Sales to break out.
Just getting away with steps there. Must have been 10 steps from James Cotter, but referee didn't. And now it's a free for Stephen Cunningham. Ball being moved up now because the Ballinteer man didn't make his way out of the free taking position. That was Joseph Sweeney. Now Carl Archibald. Oh, he touched the ball on the ground. He just spilled it, and look, I think any player, the ball drops, you're going to put your hand to it. Unfortunately, he was caught by referee Eamon Drumgool English.
Yeah, well, I think the Ballinteer sideline gave the referee a nudge there too, because they were quite vocal in that they had spotted it as well, so probably helped the referee make a decision.
I suppose Ballinteer will just want to settle down again, and like we said earlier about St. Sylvesters, they'll want to just get a score on the board at this stage. It's 2 in a row for St. Sylvesters, and they're back within 3.
Yeah, although you can just kind of hear an instruction from the sideline here about minding the ball, and we go in up by 3 at half time, so great hands.
Really nice and excellent, crucial tackle. But eventually Ronan Cullen is fouled. If that ball had to go to hand and stick, there was a real goal chance on here.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, there's a free, all right. He's going to slide tackle in, but just before that, the hands, Luke Brannock collects the ball and he slips it off so quickly, trying to create that goal scoring opportunity once again. But Ballinteer just a little bit more fluid in their attack and play, gives Brannock another chance here, 1-2, chance to add another free to his name.
It's not a popular thing to say, but in terms of the defender, he was probably right to take him out.
You're allowed to say that over here. There's no problem. You won't be criticised for it. Look, obviously you're making decisions.
It's what I would have done.
It's obviously making decisions. He's slide tackling to get the ball as opposed to obviously committing the free. But there's a win in that you're stopping that goal chance.
Yeah. Now Luke Brannock have an opportunity to atone for that 45 just a couple of minutes ago. And that's his third free of the day.
Yeah, there's one of the Ballinteer coaches down below us here, our mentors, and he's just saying about minding the ball and stop turning it over. So Ballinteer are keen that they'll go in with a 3-4 point lead at half time. So it's a good chance for Sylvesters maybe to push on and narrow that gap.
And Ballinteer are now sitting off the kickouts, whereas before maybe a couple of goal chances came from pressing up. And again, they would have made that decision midway through the half themselves, maybe on the pitch.
Yeah, there is a lot of talk coming from the sideline here, so they are being directed in some way. Great ball across.
Ambitious ball by
is right.
Carl Archibald, but it's one of those high tariff things that can really pay off and you can get scores, but the turnover can leave you exposed at the other end, which might be the case now as Ian O'Hare carries the ball up the field. Seamus Fenton now. Well, the bounce has outfoxed Owen Fitzpatrick now, and that's the ball to Sylvesters. Quick sideline here. Pierce Donoghue has the ball, and they'll look to shift that up the field quickly, but there's not too many bodies ahead of him.
Nothing inside the 45. Everything is outside 45, so they're going to have to check and go back and try and let them build from the back.
Well, there is space now over the top. Yep, excellent. Well won by Pierce Donoghue. He's in, and he's certainly pushed in the back, and the referee has given a free here. He was in on goal. He had an option outside him.
Yeah, again, great ball inside. Was there a chance for a mark? Maybe decided to back himself and go for it. Was there a pass outside? Definitely got a shove outside.
Whitney was there as well.
Yeah, he definitely got a shove outside. So free is the right decision, I think, from the referee. But there was a chance maybe to pop off a pass. But you've mentioned Pierce Donoghue. He's been lively all throughout the opening half. He's given them an outlet, despite the fact that they're leaving him very much isolated. But he spun off there. They had no one inside the 45. He spun and made a run. Manages to almost create a goal scoring opportunity, but does well to win the free.
And from Alex Wright's point of view, that's another score on the board for him. And I'd imagine from a Sylvester's point of view, to go in 3 points down, given that the game seemed to be getting away from a little bit, they were 5 points behind, they'd be happy enough just to get that score on the board before the half.
Yeah, 100%. The last 5 minutes, they've been very good. They've been better. They've got 3 points to Ballinteer's 1. So then that gives them, a bit more momentum. Again, squeeze on the kick out. And one, they've struggled from the kick out in the middle of the field, Ballinteer.
Dan O'Leary picks up the pieces. Now it's Cian Whitney. Feeds the ball outside to Alex Wright, who's got Carl Archibald inside. And he palms the ball, and does it go over the bar? It certainly does. So that's 4 out of the last 5 scores for Sylvesters, and they're just 2 points behind now coming into half time.
Yeah, great run through again there. He was shown the line by the Ballinteer midfielder Cunningham. He said, yeah, no problem, I'll take the line, which he did. Backed himself and fisted over the bar. So again, narrowing the gap. Big kick to the middle of the field again, and Ballinteer have struggled and again struggle here.
Eventually there's a scramble for the ball. Dan O'Leary is there. Referee gives a free eventually to Ballinteer St. John's, which Donncha Carey is standing over.
Yeah, great last 5-7 minutes where they've actually pushed and pressured on the kick out. Those kick outs have led to scores, couple for Archibald. So they're getting a bit of momentum from that. So it's a matter of just hanging tight now to half time. You go in 2 points down, not a bad, given where they were at. It was 1-5 to 1-1 after a quarter of an hour or so. 1-6 even.
Ballinteer will probably just look to fashion one last opportunity before the break. Donncha Carey pops the ball onto Nicky Devereux, former Dublin footballer. Let's go back out to Ian O'Hare once more. Now Luke Brannock, he has an opportunity. The slicer. And off the post and over the bar. Delightful looking score.
Yeah, lovely. He just sold a bit of a move into it, committed the Sylvesters defender there, came in onto his right, looked like it was going to go the other side of the post, clipped the top of the upright, drops over the bar, stretches it out to 3 again. That's
one of those scores now. If that goes wide, you're gonna chew the head off him, but brilliant when they go over.
Certainly backed himself.
Now Sylvesters, we're in the 33rd minute now. Do they have time for one more scoring opportunity? Full back James Cotter on the ball now. Struggling to make headway. They're still on their own 65. Ball eventually across to Dan O'Leary, who goes long this time. Really well won by Paddy White, who's been on the ball umpteen times in the half. and unleashes a banana kick himself, but unlike Brannock's one, this goes wide.
Yeah, I think he'll have an advantage though.
Yeah.
He was caught high, so he'll get a chance. So it was a shot to nothing in fairness to him. Again, there was only himself and Pierce Donoghue inside. The foot pass backed himself to find him. Almost won a clean one, but then did win the free. But limited in terms of their forward options, but great work from Paddy White to go inside, fend off the defender and win a free kick, and gives Alex Wright a chance.
He obviously knew that there was a bit of an advantage there and took the pot shot on, so Alex Wright now has an opportunity. Very difficult for a right footer here.
Yeah, but just keep an eye on his style here. There's no push on it. It's real just a flow through the ball here. Like, he's only a couple of steps up to the ball. Yeah, unlucky.
Yeah, just drags it wide to the left.
He's probably slicing across it rather than cutting it, to curl in at the back end of it there, but just drifts wide for Sylvesters, second wide.
Yeah, so we're coming in at half-time now. 1-8 to Ballinteer. Sylvesters 1-5. Look, there's been a lot of goal opportunities for Ballinteer in that first half. They are 3 points ahead, but maybe they feel they should be a small bit further ahead given the amount of looks they've had at Simon Murphy's goal.
Yeah, 100%. Like 4 goal chances inside the first 20 minutes. They managed to grab one of them. Murphy stood up big in terms of, taking a couple of shots off his chest to keep Sylvesters in the game. But, after 20 minutes or thereabouts, it's 1-6 to 1-1. Ballinteer look like they're in total control. In fairness, in those last 5-7 minutes of the half, Sylvesters pushed up a little bit more. They were a little bit more aggressive on the kick out. They're probably still a little bit passive in allowing Ballinteer come to a degree. But, those last couple of minutes there, those last 5-7 minutes, they outscore Ballinteer 4 points to 2. So it gives them a bit of momentum going in at half time. Okay, they're 3 points down, but they know they can get at Ballinteer. They know they can create chances, and if they can get ball into Pierce Donoghue, he certainly can get a run on Ben Millist inside. So not all hope lost, but probably just a little shift in mindset over half time.
Okay, well, we'll be back shortly with the second half. It's proven to be a very tight game so far, and we'll expect more of it after the break.
Stay City Apart Hotels. Half apartment, half hotel. Warm beds, comfy sofas, and fully equipped kitchens. We offer guests more, so you can do more. Cook, sleep, work, play. Welcoming, accommodating, and big beds for jumping. Smart travellers choose Stay City because Stay City is the smart choice. Stay City, half apartment, half hotel, all across Europe. Save 10% every time you book at staycity.com.
We met down at Fairview, and Kieran's brother was a friend of my brother's. We met through them, so when I was coming up to the Debs, I invited Kieran to my Debs. He asked me to marry him, and I said yes, so long as our firstborn child played for Vincent's. And he said, okay, grand. It's great to have our family involved as well. I suppose if the kids weren't as interested in it as we were, it'd be very tough on us.
Kieran's are playing Vincent's. The tension in the house is gas. Mum is obviously Vincent's and Dad is Kieran, so Mum always claims that she'll give John steak for dinner and she won't feed Kevin. But it's always a bit of a laugh, but I suppose no one takes it too seriously.
She had her hands full. She could have got the job as a bus driver. The amount of dropping off and picking up she did from matches around. Leaving some matches early to go to another match to make sure she got the end of that, or make sure we all got the same amount of attention. There was no favourites.
It means everything. I don't know what we do without it, to be fair. We eat, drink and sleep it.
It's always through the family like the rest of us. There's not enough supporting words, I'd say.
I know my whole life at this rate.
We're very proud parents. That's a huge achievement to have 100% of your family still playing. We're proud of them all, every one of them.
My name is Niamh Heatherton.
My name is John Heatherton. I'm Kieran Heatherton.
I'm Patsy Heatherton, and as a family,
Our roots are set in the GAA.
Ground Force probably is the absolute heart of this club, both in their ethos, the amount of work they do, and just the pure love they have for Dave Marnoga and the GAA in general. In simplest terms, we probably couldn't function without Ground Force.
I suppose the GAA was always a bit more than hitting the ball or hitting the schlitter, and it gave a great sense of community to people.
I suppose at my age, fear of retirement, worried about the unknown, what am I going into a home, under my wife's feet all the time or something like that, and then we just got this men's initiative started off. We feel that we're giving something back to the club that gave so much to us. We come up here on a rotary basis and line pitches, cut grass. It kind of empowers us as well if we feel valued.
We're all friends, we're all retired, we're all around the same age group. Some of us have nothing outside of our work, and Ground Force has been a big change for everybody from a mental well-being point of view. It's really, really important and really significant, and there is great camaraderie amongst the group.
So I think there's about 30 odd men in this initiative that comes up to the club and has a chat, and the coffee is important as well. We sort out the world, Dan.
Yeah. Or well, most of it.
Yeah.
That's what it means to me, just achievement and pride.
My first memory of GAA would probably have been in Croke Park with my father. That would be in the early 1950s.
As a young lad, brought down to watch one of my brother's matches.
Playing under 10 hurling, and I say hurling, not camogie, because I played on the boys' team.
My feeling about the GAA was more a social one than a games one, because I thought it was a great way for all the kids to get to know each other.
Mum and Dad always brought us up to have each other's backs. We'd all go to each other's matches. No matter what we were doing or playing, we'd all support each other. I'm playing for the club 37 years, I think, now, but I also coach my two daughters' teams.
It's great. It really is a great feeling to have the kids down there. And now all of their friends are beginning to come from the same community and the same focus on the club, so it's a mirror of what happened to me in my childhood, I suppose.
We made more friends down the years and had more fun down the years than ever we would anywhere else.
Mum fostered that through us as well. She was chief bottle washer. She'd have jerseys upon jerseys out in the line. 3 of my offspring are married, and they met their better halves through the club.
The friends and relationships I got out of it. Looking back, that was really what the GAA was about. Community, about building relationships with people. My name is Mick Galvin.
My name is Mary Galvin.
My name is Phil Galvin, and my family roots are in St Bridget's GAA Club.
Stay City Apart Hotels. Half apartment, half hotel. Warm beds, comfy sofas, and fully equipped kitchens. We offer guests more, so you can do more. Cook, sleep, work, play. Welcoming, accommodating, and big beds for jumping. Smart travellers choose Stay City because Stay City is the smart choice. Stay City, half apartment, half hotel, all across Europe. Save 10% every time you book at staycity.com.
We're delighted to extend the partnership with Go Ahead Ireland. They're an organisation that serves communities all over Dublin and helps serve our club members around the county, and it's been a brilliant partnership for the last 3 years, and we're delighted to extend for a further 2 years.
Like us, Dublin GAA are bedded in their community, so it was a really natural fit. For us, it was important to find a partner that was inclusive, but also had that community identity, and that's exactly what we found in Dublin GAA. Since we started the partnership, they've been really easy to work with, and we're really excited to continue the journey together.
In those 3 years, we actually accomplished a lot with Dublin GAA. We were privileged to be able to work with both local and national charities with them, as well as working on several GAA initiatives.
This partnership allows us to support Club League and Championship and initiatives such as our Dubs TV live streaming platform. We try and stream as many games as possible, particularly during the Championship season where we can from a logistical point of view around grounds, and that is something we will continue to try and deliver over the coming years and keep enhancing Club Championship product and club leagues around the county across all 4 codes.
In the coming months, we're going to be continuing growing our services. And while we do that, that means that we'll be serving more GAA community clubs than ever before.
This year alone, we're going to be introducing the Development Fund for Accessibility as part of our partnership, which is going to see core infrastructure at Dublin GAA developed. In the summer, we're also introducing the Go Ahead Ireland Dublin LGFA Summer Skills Camps, which will be held in July and August.
As Dublin's best performing public bus operator, we're going to continue to work really hard on delivering for our customers and our communities.
Stay City Apart Hotels. Half apartment, half hotel. Warm beds, comfy sofas, and fully equipped kitchens. We offer guests more, so you can do more. Cook, sleep, work, play. Welcoming, accommodating, and big beds for jumping. Smart travellers choose Stay City because Stay City is the smart choice. Stay City, half apartment, half hotel, all across Europe. Save 10% every time you book at staycity.com.
We met down in Fairview, and Kieran's brother was a friend of my brother's. We met through them, so when I was coming up to the Devs, I invited Kieran to my Devs. He asked me to marry him, and I said yes, so long as our firstborn child played for Vincent's. And he said, okay, grand. It's great to have our family involved as well. I suppose if the kids weren't as interested in it as we were, it'd be very tough on us.
Welcome back to Parnell Park here. It's half-time between St Sylvesters and Ballinteer St John's. St John's are leading by 3 points, 1-8 to 1-5. Coleman Goggins is beside me here. What will Derek Roach and Daniel St Ledger be saying to their Sylvesters team there at half-time? And I suppose at the flip side then, Kevin Murphy too.
Yeah, I think, look, Sylvesters have to take good promise and momentum from the last 5 or 7 minutes where they started to go at Ballinteer a little bit more. You know, they have created goal chances, so they obviously are conscious about protecting that. They can't give away or afford to give away 4 more goal chances and hope Ballinteer don't take 1 or 2 of them. So I think they'll have a little bit of momentum from the last 5 or 7 minutes. And then the reverse side to that is for Ballinteers. They've probably been a little bit loose with some of their attack and play. They've obviously left a few chances behind them when you think of some of those goal chances. So they're probably looking to be a little bit more clinical up front.
Okay, well, the ball has been thrown in, and straight away it's Sylvesters on the attack. Paddy White now on the ball. He's been bundled over. 35 yards out gives Sylvesters a chance to knock a ball over the bar straight away. Alex Wright stepping up to it. And this would be a great start to the half for Sylvesters if they could knock this over the bar.
Yeah, great support run from Paddy White. There was no need to put a foul on him. There was 3 Ballinteer guys around him. He was ultimately going to run into a bit of trouble. But he didn't... he backed himself, didn't have to get fouled. Gives Alex Wright a chance. He should strike this over the bar.
Flighted that one nicely just before the half. One went to Ryan in, but knocks that over the bar, and that brings it back to just within 2 points now.
Yeah, and his fourth score. So he's obviously good from frees. He can have an impact from play as well. So again, Sylvesters pushed right up. There's instructions coming from all angles as where he's going or where he might not be going in terms of the kick out.
And Ballinteer have pushed 3 to the far end of the pitch, so they're trying to create space here, and it's...
Yeah, did well to work the kick out, in fairness to him.
Nicky Devereux now back to Aidan Clabby, who's got Matthew Gardner available, who pops it out to Ian O'Hare. So not too many options ahead of him. Sylvesters have set up well, but he has found Donnacha Carey, who's driving inside the 45. And he just took too many steps there.
Yeah, I think there was a pass on. He didn't back himself. A couple of the guys inside had shown, but he decided to carry the ball and carried it into trouble.
Jack Boyne sends the ball backwards to his goalkeeper, Simon Murphy, who's happy to just solo it on the spot. Eventually giving the ball to Sean O'Donnell, who's quick to give it back. And they look to build out from the right cornerback spot where Jack Boyne has the ball once more. Paddy White once more, the captain, on the ball for the umpteenth time. He's been turned over, but Jack Boyne gathers the ball once more. And Sylvesters have kept their cool on the ball. Stephen Cunningham with it now, and he plays it out to James Cotter, who's carrying it forward inside the Ballinteer half. Dan O'Leary now into Dylan Connolly, who looks to inject a bit of pace. And now Alex Wright on the ball, the man who can make things happen. Ronan Palmer. Outside to Archibald. There's 2 points to his name already. Palmer again. And now Pierce Donoghue. Really good discipline defending, and it was Donagh Carey who got the hand in, and eventually Ballinteer win the ball back.
Yeah, it was very good from Sylvesters. They kept the ball well, they moved it over and back. Just unlucky Pierce Donoghue gets turned over, but good hand in from Ballinteer. We're disciplined in the tackling, as you said.
Owen Fitzpatrick with the ball now. Not too many options ahead of Ronan Cullen now, so he has to go backwards. Matthew Gardner seemed determined to pump the ball inside, but the options weren't there, and Sylvesters were quick to snuff out the opportunity to deliver. And he's back on the ball again, coming towards the D, pads the ball on, and eventually over the bar from Seamus Fenton. For a second it looked like the goal had opened up for him.
Yeah, he probably got a little tug back there. The referee had raised the hand for an advantage. He let him play through, so while it looked like he might have overcarried it, I think there was an advantage, and it was probably the tug that maybe just meant the goal chance didn't present itself properly.
But again, it just shows that Ballinteer have that ability to cut through, and I know there was a little bit of fortune in terms of Gardner just knocked a bouncing ball through, but it just shows that there is that threat there with Ballinteer.
Yeah, they're finding those little pockets of space inside the numbers that Sylvesters have back. Donoghue on the ball again.
He really is determined to go at his man every time, but Millis held him up very, very well. Eventually that ball blocked down.
Yeah, young guy who's come into the senior set up from minor, so he's still learning the ropes a little bit. Probably the wrong shot to take on there, but you can't criticise his effort for Sylvesters across the course of the game so far.
Luke Cullen on the ball now, plays it across to Donagh Carey, who winds up from 40 yards out. And a brilliant score from Donagh Carey, really nicely fired over the bar.
Yeah, but we've spoken a little bit about the impact of the breeze. You know, if you look at just, he lifts it up into the air, gets a bit of a carry from the breeze, knocks it over the bar. Probably the first long-range score we've seen this afternoon.
And again, it just shows the value. If you can block a team down at one end, they're very, very exposed and can be hit on the counter, and Ballinteer done very, very well there. They've extended the lead to 4 points.
Yeah, it's just an earlier press that's coming from Ballinteer, so Sylvester having to work so hard to break that line initially. Yeah, and again, there's a little bit of indiscipline in the tackle. They're working so hard to a point and then giving away a free shot in terms of a free.
Yeah, Luke Cullen had done very well initially, but probably just couldn't help himself, left the hand in too long.
Yeah, they are putting the press on early. It is causing Sylvesters a few problems, but they're managing to break it every so often.
James Cotter now working the ball out to Stephen Cunningham. He's got Dan O'Leary, who changes the point of attack once more. Sean O'Donnell on to Ronan Palmer, who's been on the ball quite a lot in this game. Now Paddy White has the options. Eventually winds up with the left and drags it just wide on the near side. So that's a very, very disappointing wide there. Just their third of the game.
Yeah, but similar to what Sylvesters were doing the first half, Ballinteer now have everyone pulled back, and even though they had bodies behind the ball, he was able to travel a good distance there, went on his right, came back onto his left. So it's all well and good in having bodies behind the ball, but at some point you've got to hit the the player on the ball, and they just stood off him a little bit, gave him a chance to score, and unfortunately pulled it wide from a Sylvesters point of view.
And just there, Sylvester has had numbers up the field, but they didn't get any pressure on at all. And now Ballinteer are up at the top end of the pitch, and a shot blocked down by Brannock.
Yeah, wrong option, but a little bit quicker in terms of the movement out. Chance for Sylvesters now, there's space.
Yeah, Dylan Connolly now. He works the ball across to Sean Gibson. Onto Ronan Palmer once more. Tackle put in by Luke Brannock to slow him up. Now Paddy White, once again the captain has the ball. And Alex Wright making a burst. Nicky Devereux holds him up. And Ronan Palmer once more. Not too many options available for Ronan. And eventually goes back to Cunningham.
Well, I think they had 8 players behind the ball, so they almost had as many behind the ball as they had ahead of the ball, so there was kind of options, the wrong options in terms of the place to go with the ball was forward, but everyone seemed to be behind the ball a little bit. Still, they've retained possession, gives themselves a chance.
At 4 points down, they won't be too panicked just yet, but they want that gap widening much more. Now James Cotter with the ball once more. Keane Whitney coming off the shoulder, has a pop from 20 odd yards, has a curl inside. It has. Fantastic score from Keane Whitney. A real boost for Sylvesters.
Yeah, great score. They took their time. They were patient. It was maybe critical that they'd gone over and back a couple of times, had more players behind the ball, but when he came into the move, slipped it onto his left side, and again, just used a bit of a breeze to tail it over the bar there. A good score, an important one for Sills. Narrows the gap to 3. And again, can they put a squeeze on the kick out?
This is it. They have numbers up, but will they get tight? Will they really force it on Clabby Long, which they have done so? And Owen Fitzpatrick is adjudicated to have fouled, I think it's Glenn Hasley there. And the ball's been moved up now. Too much protestations from Ballinteer.
Yeah, give Alex Wright a chance. I'd say he'll put it down on the ground and have a cut off this. Directly in front of the goals there. He might be trying to just sail it over the black spot. But again, once the pressure is put on the kick out, they're just not getting them away as easy. Clabby was trying his best there to find Fitzpatrick, just the kick went a little bit further across, which allowed the opportunity for Sylvesters to turn it over. And when they do turn it over, they're well capable of creating scoring opportunities. He just lofted that up in the air there. There was minimal effort to get it sailed over from 40 metres or so.
A beautiful golf stroke there, and I think that's his 4th free of the day, 1-6 in total, so he's had a big day. And once more, it's an opportunity to press up on Aidan Clabby. Sylvester certainly have numbers there, but really, really good kick from Clabby. And Ballinteer are moving the ball quickly up the field. The midfielder has the ball now. He's passing it inside. Joseph Sweeney looks for Seamus Fenton, who was looking to get his 2nd score of the day, but eventually the ball dribbles out harmlessly wide. That was a real opportunity.
Yeah, but it's quite simple. When goal kick lands almost in the middle of the field, they turn and pop a ball inside, and suddenly Ballinteer are turned and going at Sylvesters. Just didn't manage to get the passes right. So yes, both teams, when they get the opportunity, are able to create scoring opportunities, but Sylvesters will be happy enough. 10 minutes gone the second half. They've narrowed the gap to 2, and they're seeing a lot more of the ball.
But again, from a man who's been out on the pitch many times, Sylvesters had the numbers up for the kick out, but it comes out too quickly. They're not getting the pressure on, and Alex Wright is inside. And probably, I think we'd have to agree that Eamon Drumgoole English got it right there. Probably just took too much time on the ball.
Yeah, he was probably on the brink. There was maybe another step in him. He thought there was. He came back, referee pulled him on it, but the chance was probably there before that. He didn't back himself initially, and it was that extra step then. The referee made it easy for him to blow.
Well, just 2 points in it now. Sylvesters have popped over the last two through Whitney and Alex Wright's free. Still 19 minutes of normal time to go, plus maybe a couple added on. And it's Ben Millis on the ball now. Nice little pop pass over the top. But his teammate Seamus Fenton is in serious traffic there and has the ball ripped away from him. Now Stephen Cunningham coming out with the ball for Sylvesters. And now a quick kick pass over the top. Not quite sure who that was meant for, but it's turned over by Colin Fitzpatrick. And now quickly Ballinteer, they change the angle of attack and bring it over to this near sideline.
I think it was Paddy White who was breaking out. He was raging that the pass didn't find him, but just a couple of missed passes. Both teams just not minding the ball as well as they should, offering the ball over very easy on each occasion.
Matthew Gardner now to Owen Fitzpatrick, winds up, Dummy solo, hand passes the ball over the top. Inside to Dan O'Leary, and really nicely finished there. Great patience, great vision from Owen Fitzpatrick to find him inside.
Yeah, great spot. He could have taken on the shot. He didn't. He just checked, and then suddenly there was space inside. I mentioned that they keep drifting into pockets. Ben Millis had got in there a little, or Matthew Gardner had got into the position a little bit earlier. Just the pass didn't fall for him. Dan O'Leary this time slipped into the gap. So again, numbers behind the ball, but just missing the runners on occasion that just leaves someone free to try and get that score, and it was a soft enough score to give away.
And that must really frustrate the management of Sylvesters here, that you have the ball and you go for an aimless kick up the field, and I suppose that's why teams are so cautious on the ball, and sometimes we look at it as negative, but they're looking at it as we've got to take care of the ball.
Yeah, correct. And look, your challenge there, because if you're breaking out like that and you haven't been used to kicking the ball because we're going back or side to side in terms of hand passing, you know, maybe it's a skill that's not executed enough, so it's not always landed right on time.
Okay, well, Sylvesters have decided to make a switch. They've brought on Dan Brennan, and he's in place of Sean Gibson, I should say.
Yeah, and I see Tom Ahern has come on there for Ballinteer. Looks like Luke Cullen, I think it has, who's left the field.
Ahern down to start initially.
And Oisin Grady looks like he's come in there too, number 20.
There is Tom Ahern looking to force a turnover, but probably a little bit over-eager. That can happen when you come in as a substitute. You feel like pressing it, really pushing the envelope.
Yeah, James Cotter did well there because he was put under pressure with the pass, but secured it and was strong enough to see it out, get the free and release Sylvesters once again. I think Paddy White might be done there for what the referee deemed was the grip in the hand underneath his arm there, so he's claiming that he was doing the fouling rather than the Ballinteer St. John's man.
And we'll just say hello to Sophie McGlynn from Malahide, watching the game from New York City and cheering on Sylvesters. Well, she'll be hoping her team can turn around a 3-point deficit. Owen Fitzpatrick now inside, and that could have been a free there for Colin Fitzpatrick, but instead it's a turnover for Sylvesters. Carl Archibald with the ball now, feeding it on to Keane Whitney, who in turn finds Alex Wright. Kick pass up, which Pierce Donoghue fetches, and he's going at his man Ben Millis once more. Always hungry to take on his man. Now what's at the end of it? Feeds the ball back to substitute Dan Brennan, and that gets blocked, but it's found its way to Dylan Connolly. And yet another block, so that's 2 blocks in a row. Really good defending from Ballinteer back there.
Yeah, great defender from Ballinteer. Pierce Donoghue did almost everything right, got across, great commitment to the block, and then when it broke out again, another great block from Ballinteer. Great commitment, and then to win the turnover and bending for the ball. Got nudged in the back and gives a little bit of breathing space again to Ballinteer. Kind of labour in the second half here. No team is really taking it on. Added any bit of pace or took total control of the game, so it's still wide open for either side to go and win it.
Nicky Devereux carrying the ball out. Ronan Cullen now. And Donaghy Carey, who's certainly gotten into the game more in the second half. Now substitute Tom Ahern. From a very narrow angle, drops short, but the referee has gone back for a foul.
Yeah, he probably got lucky there in terms of the foul. I'm not sure the shot was on, but referee obviously seeing contact that has won a free, so maybe he was aware of that when he took on the shot, but probably the wrong option. He's been keen since he came on, in fairness to him. He gave away a free. He showed hard for that ball from Nicky Devereux when he was coming up the wing here.
Yeah, we'll have a quick look here. So there were hands in from Dan O'Brien and also from Sean O'Donnell. I'd agree with you. I do think that there was probably a little bit tame.
Yeah, I'm not fully sure, but look, it gives an opportunity to the sub here, Oisin Grady.
Yeah. He'll want to make an immediate impact. And does. That extends the lead to 4 points. So that's 112 to 1-8 now. And that's Oisin Grady settled and into the game.
Yeah, he did well. Difficult enough angle, but just popped it up. It dropped over the bar for him. Just keep pushing out that gap. Sylvesters have managed to shut it to 2 a couple of times. They can't get it to 1, give themselves a chance.
Dylan Connolly now. Luke Cullen. Sorry, I should say Keane Whitney. Ian O'Hare with the turnover.
Yeah, great defender from Ian O'Hare. Just came across, picked it up and then settles it all down again. You know, putting your man under pressure, which he does. Turns over the ball to Ballinteer again. There's a big 5-10 minutes here for Sylvesters. They need to dig in here, see if they can get a score.
Dan O'Leary. His team are ahead, so he knows he could be patient. Matthew Gardner trying to draw Sylvesters on them. Joseph Sweeney once more, and Nicky Devereux. Sweeney once more. All on his own is Ben Millist. Luke Brannock, what can he do now? About 35 yards out, cuts back onto his right and wide.
Yeah, he did so much right there in terms of trying to free up the little bit of space from just got the angles wrong in terms of the shot away. Great work again. Sylvesters in behind the ball, putting pressure on. Makes it more difficult for Brannock to get a shot away. Going to be tough on them. It's warm out there. You know, you're 45 minutes in now. There's a lot of heat. It's going to be hot on the ground there. They've put in a good bit of effort. So it's a big 10 minutes, as I mentioned, for both sides, but particularly for Sylvesters to build out. They need to narrow that gap once more.
And it doesn't look obvious on the stream, but certainly there's a bit of a hill that you're playing up as well. And when you're trying to carry the ball up that hill, it can be that bit more difficult.
Yeah, another great block there. Real commitment to it there. Ballinteer probably need to inject a little bit of pace. They've dropped off pace-wise, and that just maybe is impacting their game, but they're certainly in control. They're managing to turn over balls, so a couple of scores sees them out here.
And Sweeney's found space in the centre. He knocks the ball out for Oisin Grady. It just runs a little bit away from him, so he has to gather at the end line and hope to work it back, which he does to Sweeney. And now Brannock. He looks for Ronan Cullen, and it's coming all the way back to this right-hand wing. David Devereux to Tom Ahern. And now Carey's in, Donncha Carey. And he's found a way to slot it to the back of the net. Simon Murphy got a hand to it, but ultimately it's in the back of the net. Really looked after the ball really, really well there. Did Ballinteer St. John, a real team goal.
Yeah, a couple of quick moves, but again, just finding the little bit of space. Looked like a free there in terms of the initial hit, but he managed to stay on his feet, just slipped it inside the goalkeeper. Unlucky on Murphy, tried to get a hand on it, it was just a little bit further away from him. Probably should wrap it up for Ballinteer if they can see out the game despite whatever 10-12 minutes left on the clock. But I mentioned there was a big 5 minutes there, 10 minutes for Sylvesters not to concede a big score, and that ultimately could be a very costly goal.
It's that goal threat that Ballinteer have had from the start of the game, Coleman.
Yeah, and that's probably the first real clear-cut chance they've created second half, but they have managed to get a good number of blocks defensively. Great run from Pierce Donoghue here. He's unlucky.
And Aidan Clabby picks up the pieces, as you said there. Pierce Donoghue, very unlucky. He was probably a little bit off balance as he looked to solo that, and the ball got away from him. And now again, Ballinteer have the ball. Can they punish Sylvesters doubly by getting a score at the other end? Tom Ahern up to Luke Brannock. He works it back once more to David Devereux. Seven points between them with 10 minutes left. Gardner has the ball, works it out to Oisin Grady. And he drags it just wide on the left-hand side.
Yeah, third wide of the second half. Really should be popping that over. Just keep the scoreboard ticking over from a Ballinteer perspective. They're in control. They, a couple of more scores is all they want to do. They don't need to really chase after the game.
At this stage of the game, is there much that Sylvesters could change here? They just have to hope that Plan A starts to work a bit better.
Yeah, they haven't done a huge amount wrong. They've probably been a little bit unlucky in that they've been blocked down or turned over a couple of times. They just haven't managed to stop runners getting into space. So they have stuck to what they've been trying to do. Ballinteer have just probably been a little bit better when they got opportunities in terms of creating those scoring chances.
Of the chances they've had in the second half, 3 times they've been blocked down when they're going for scores, and once wide. They have popped over 3 points, but perhaps it's just down to decision making to some degree, Coleman.
Yeah, they've been.
Well, Dan Brennan has to fight really, really hard, and eventually he does get the ball over the bar. So that could be the sort of goal or score that infuses a little bit of energy into Sylvesters. They'll need that going down the stretch.
Yeah, he did well there. Looked like a couple of times he was under a bit of pressure to get a shot away, but stuck to it, managed to turn inside and clip it over the bar. like, you know, without saying there's an inevitability to it, you know, the game is playing out to a pattern that Sylvesters try and need to impact. How can you impact that? They need to squeeze up on the kick out. They need to try and inject a little bit more pace. But with, you know, 50 minutes played, legs are tired. It's very warm, as we mentioned out there. Certainly 24 degrees, you know, coming in the card earlier on in terms of temperature. So on the ground there, you're going to feel all that. So it's very hard now to go and press again. They need 7 points, or they need 2 goals. They haven't looked like creating too much in terms of goal scoring opportunities. You think of the goal that they netted, you know, early on. It was a poor goal from a Ballinteer perspective to give away. So defensively, Ballinteer haven't been too challenged from a goal scoring opportunity side from Sylvesters. So then the big question is, can you kick 7 points in the last 10 minutes? That's a big ask given what we've seen to now. So Ballinteer are in control when you consider it that way. But, you know, things can change in football. You get a goal here or a spark, it ignites a bit of a comeback.
Once again, Aidan Clabby, he's able to get away the kick out. And it's all too easy for Ballinteer, who I'm sure their manager, Kevin Murphy, the message will be in the last 10 minutes, just no goals conceded.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know, Sylvesters are still sitting back a little bit. They're down by 6, so they just have to step forward, try and make the contact a little bit earlier. Okay, they don't want to concede at the other end. So you're trying to be a master of both here.
A burst from Owen Fitzpatrick, who gets the free.
Yeah, he reached across him again. You know, the tackle is coming inside the 45, 30 metres from goal. So, you know, if everyone said, look, let's take a 10-metre step forward. So if Ballinteer are good enough to kick the ball over our head and free up inside or create scores, well, so be it. But let's try and put a bit of a challenge on so that we're not giving them a free scoring opportunity from 30 metres out. We've seen Grady knock one over a little bit earlier, although he kicked a bad wide. Following on from that, you know, you'd expect this to be dropped over too.
That's a yellow card for Dylan Connolly. It was Joseph Sweeney who had been getting a small bit of treatment for Ballinteer. As with the new rules, he had to come back all the way to halfway, and eventually he was let back on. Now Oisin Grady, can he pop this over the bar? Extend the lead back out to 7 for Ballinteer once more.
Short.
He's dropped it short. A little let off for St. Sylvesters. We're going to look
for sure.
They're going to look to counter quickly here. Sean O'Donnell has the ball. They've got 2 up top. Ballinteer looking to ensure that there'll be no goal going in here. But Connolly has the ball. Not too much support. Alex Wright with the ball inside to James Cotter, who's turned over. Donnacha Carey with the ball, and it works it out to David Devereaux here. And again, Ballinteer are back on the attack. Colin Fitzpatrick slows it down and changes the point of attack to Owen Fitzpatrick. Owen Fitzpatrick to Oisin Grady, who has a chance to knock the ball over the bar, which he duly does with the fist. And that could be one of the final daggers.
Yeah, look, I think there's probably been an air of inevitability to it. I don't think that score is ultimately going to prove the difference. But if you look at the turnover in the middle of the field, fullback James Cotter came on to it, gets hit. Not so much hit, but is confronted by Donnacha Gray. But he's confronting him 50, 60 yards from goal as opposed to inside the 45. So when the turnover comes, then it's Sylvesters that are scrambling to try and get a cordon in front of the goal. So it's just another score. Ballinteer don't need to score anymore. The game is won. They obviously don't want to concede goals. So Sylvesters, all the questions are with Sylvesters now. Can you push up? Can you force a turnover? Can you get a goal and put a bit of life back into the challenge here? Yeah,
Ross Hasley has been introduced. And for Sylvesters, if they do lose this game, they'll play in the next round the losers of the other game, which is Ballyboden against Ballymun. And that's going to be no small task either. So their season is very much on the line.
Yeah, and look, they've had a couple of injuries. I know there's a few guys missing on the team, so they're not at full strength, I suppose. But like every team, I suppose, you've got to play with what's available to you. So, you know, so that they're fronting out, they're trying to give a good performance. To a point, they've done lots of stuff well. Yeah, to a point, they've done lots of stuff well, but they've probably just lacked that little bit more of an intensity going forward. Ballinteer may be a little bit better in that regard.
And Dan Brennan has a bit of a pot shot from the sideline, which just goes wide on the near side. So Sylvesters will look to press up somewhat, but how tight can they get to Ballinteer here to force a turnover? Ben Millis is showing for it short. And instead, Aidan Clabby clips the ball over his head. Sylvesters are in. Is it going to be a free? The referee says up you get. Dan Brennan does just that, but draws the ball wide. And he's not going to go back for a free either.
Yeah, I don't think he thought the contact was a free. Now, he did run across him. I think he was expecting the contact. So when it came then, an awful kick out from Clabby. He had an earlier kick to get away there. Yeah, he went to ground all right. He was certainly contact, but I don't think it was a foul in looking at it on the second time there. But I don't understand the kick out from Clabby. Don't give away a goal. The game is won. Ben Millis made a run to the edge of the D. He decided not to kick it to him. And then when he did decide to kick it to him, he kicks it over his head. So you're putting the team under pressure when there's no need. Ballinteer have an extra man there.
And then goes long this time. And I suppose perhaps a little bit rumbled by the last one. He miskicks this one. And now Sylvesters are in. And it's Dylan Connolly. He feeds the ball onto Alex Wright. Alex Bright. And a brilliant save from Clabby, who tones for the kick out. And it's back out once more to Stephen Cunningham, who's blocked. And the ball. And it ends up as a 45. Sylvesters have been getting chances and they just haven't been able to put them away.
Yeah, well, where did the chance come out of there? Like 2 bad kickouts in a row. So he gives away a kick out, so then you're hoping for, well, the next one I need to do something that just retains the kick out. Or if I don't retain it, at least stick it into an area where we can compete for it and get it set up. Where the kick drops, it gives them an opportunity and licence to go at Ballinteer. He did brilliant, in fairness to him, to stand up to the shot when it ultimately came to get the save. Gives away a 45, but from a position where you're comfortable, then all of a sudden you're scrambling if you do give away that goal.
So Alex Wright with the 45, and that just draws short and eventually wide. So you just look at their last 5 attempts, 3 wides and 2 shots blocked, a couple that were in on goal.
Yeah, they've had the chances, and look, Ballinteer are comfortable to a point, so they've definitely have dropped off, and by dropping off then Sylvesters are able to impact the game a little bit more. So again, if you're looking at the kick out setup here, Ballinteer have outballs here if they show hard enough for it, or else you're trying to keep it away from where the big guys are out to the side.
The referee's calling it back.
And he's lucky because he hit it to where the 2 Sylvesters lads are standing.
Look, in fairness to Don Clabby, it's a tough day out there, and you have a Sylvesters team that are pressing up hard, and everyone knows the messages: we don't concede a goal, and obviously that maybe intensifies in your mind.
And for Clabby, then you're saying, give me an option here, lads. Who's showing for him? There doesn't seem to be too many options for him.
Great catch from Hasley there, Ross Hasley. And the ball now is with Glenn. Gets the ball onto Paddy White once more, around the 45. Pirouettes and gives the ball to Carl Archibald. And Ronan Palmer's outside him. He looks to feed it inside to Paddy White, with going in on goal, and eventually pops the ball over the bar. So that's 110 to 213. We'll see it again on the replay here. Archibald with possession. He gives it to Ronan Palmer and eventually over the bar. Probably the wisest decision, really.
Yeah, I think Clabby did well that time. He came out and cut it, so he didn't give an option to think about goal. He seen him in his eye line, said it's easier to pop this over the bar. Fisted point, it's down to 6. Look, the game is over for the last 10 or 12 minutes. On the back of that, even before Ballinteer managed to score that second goal. But, from a Ballinteer perspective and from a manager perspective, you're looking at this thinking we need to secure possession. We've struggled there for 4 or 5 minutes, gave away a couple of goal scoring opportunities. That's an area for us to work on.
Cian Dolan is after coming on, and he feeds the ball to Oisin Grady, who again returns the favour. And Ballinteer just playing the ball around now, trying to find where the space is and draw Sylvester out of their shape. The onus is totally on Sylvesters now.
Yeah, so they've a couple of guys still sat in behind the ball, so that, okay, they're protecting, but you're protecting nothing. The game is lost. Score difference could come into play, so they're obviously maybe thinking of that a little bit too.
Owen Fitzpatrick winds up once more.
I think he has it.
The people in the crowd like it. Everybody likes it. That's a beautiful score from Owen Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, second of the day for him, in fairness to him. He's lofted it up into the air again. Breeze helped him out a little bit on it.
Pierce Donoghue with the ball. He's worked hard all day. He's always looked to test out Ben Millis. Maybe hasn't had the support that he needed. And we can see that right here at the moment. He doesn't really have any help.
Yeah, totally isolated. Maybe a picture of, how Malahide have set up today. They've, left Pierce a little bit isolated at time. He's showed hard for it. They haven't just been able to get to him quick enough to try and support. Numbers again here for Ballinteer.
Aaron Bradshaw, another substitute on for Ballinteer with the ball at the moment. He's hit a little bit too hard by Paddy White, according to referee Eamon Drumgool English.
Yeah, I think he dived in on the ball there, so it was always going to be a free. There was no real effort made to play, and if he did get it, he was going to touch it on the ground. He's played well, in fairness to him, Paddy White. He's stuck in. He's offered himself going forward. He's tried to support from a defensive point of view too. Just probably when you look across the spread of scores there, from a Sylvesters point of view, Alex Wright obviously was loaded up with number of frees. There was the Dylan Connolly goal, which probably was fortuitous, but outside of that, there hasn't been an impact from their forward line.
Josh Bannon not being available today has obviously hurt them.
Yeah, big loss, and then, from a Ballinteer perspective, they probably just got a little bit more up front. Dropped
Luke
short again,
Brannock,
I think.
Yeah, dropped short. Simon Murphy gathering once more. And Simon Murphy's done well in the goal. Michael Shield not available, of course, a Dublin panellist in recent years.
Yeah, he's done very well. A couple of great saves. He's pulled a few out of the clouds as well that were dropping short. I think the advantage was for the foul before.
Yeah. James Cotter feeding the ball across to Ronan Palmer, who looks for Carl Archibald. And eventually now Pierce Donoghue once more. Fed across to Stephen Cunningham. Will he wind up or will he look to fashion a goal chance? Well, Dan Brennan hasn't been shy of shooting all game, and this one's going to drop short ever since he came on, and it drops into the hand of Matthew Gardner. Eventually it's worked out to a Ballinteer pair of hands and Oisin Grady.
Did well, Matthew Gardner got under the ball and managed to break out, dropped it to get the hand pass away. A bit of pace coming out here from Ballinteer. They sense there might be a score on.
Yeah, Tom Ahern working with Owen Fitzpatrick. You nearly get tired watching him today. He's covered so much ground.
It'll come around, I think, from
that.
No.
Is it just outside? Maybe the wind carried it away a small bit, but he's been so prominent, particularly in this second half, just wide.
I think even with Hawkeye, it would have been a nail there. It just didn't come across when he was trying to get the final swing on it. But again, he's given everything from top to bottom of the field there. Full-time whistle sounds, and Ballinteer march on with their 2 points.
Yeah, Ballinteer 2-14, St Sylvesters 1-10. Relatively comprehensive for a finish. The goals were scored by Luke Brannock and Donncha Carey, who got a crucial one in the second half. Alex Wright had got the opener very early on in the game, maybe the 10th minute, but certainly in the second half it was Ballinteer whose goal threat from the start of the game eventually paid off, and they pulled away, and Sylvesters tried as they might, just could never quite pare it back, and that's going to be very, very difficult next week or in the next time out, whether it's against Ballyboden or Ballymun.
Yeah, look, probably when you're looking at the two teams, you're saying, look, this is the chance for us to get points on the board, and by getting points on the board, you automatically secure your senior championship 1 status. So if you have 2 points then as a Ballinteer club or team, you know you have 2 banked, and then Ballyboden and Ballymun you go on and you see how you might get on. Sylvesters now know that after this they have to play both of those teams, so it's going to be hard or difficult for them to pick up points. So automatically your mindset shifts around. Now where does that leave us on the back end of the championship, whereas Ballinteer move forward? I can see what Sylvesters were trying to do. They've set up in a defensive mode to try and impact Ballinteer, but when it broke down they were either shy on numbers up front or just didn't have enough of a clinical edge to try and get those scores at the back end of it. They certainly created chances. They did give themselves an opportunity, had it down to 2 points with 20 minutes on the clock. But Ballinteer scored 1-2 there without reply. Ultimately it was the death knell, and that was before the 50-minute mark, and probably the better team on the day. Yeah,
and Ballinteer, of course, without Sean Parker, their regular goalkeeper today, and Liam Smith, we didn't see him involved today either. How far can they go this year? And we'll bring up highlights of the game now as we're just talking through Ballinteer's chances this year.
Yeah, there's some big teams available across the championship. So I think, for Ballinteer, it's a matter of can you get a win under your belt, which they've done, and then gives them an opportunity to move forward. And if you look back then in terms of, how first half played out, seeing a score there from Owen Fitzpatrick, there was probably a little bit better movement from Ballinteer up front. They seemed to have more numbers when play broke down. If you look at that last play there's 3 here. There's total indecision from Ballinteer there. The ball bounces. Clabby might have a chance to get to it, but all credit to Dylan Connolly. He was brave and went in and stuck it into the net. But it kind of came against the run of play from a Ballinteer perspective. And from there they kicked on. They scored, 1-4 in the following 10 minutes from the goal. There was Luke Brannock came into the game a little bit. In that time, they created a lot of goal-scoring opportunities. We see here again where we've given a huge praise to Simon Murphy. Stood up, took it in the chest. They managed to win a free off it. The Brannock knocks over the bar. But, Ballinteer consistently in that first, 15-20 minutes created goal chances. And it came from that earlier push. Right man, right time in terms of Luke Brannock heading in on goal there. absolutely roofs it in terms of a finish.
And Donnacha Carey with the turnover as well. Like, he gets a goal in the second half, and did that typify Ballinteer's ability to turn over Sylvesters and then punish them?
Yeah, I think we spoke about that in the commentary, Shane, and that Ballinteer were further up the field, so the turnover, you were inside Sylvesters 45. Sylvesters were conceding a lot of space, allowing Ballinteer have the ball. But in the latter half of the first half, where the push came on, Cunningham wins the ball, shifts it off to his midfield partner there, Archibald, to knock it over the bar. So they did a little bit more to the latter end. They outscored Ballinteer in those last 5-7 minutes of the half by 4 points to 2 in the opening, 4 points to 2. You mentioned about a good foul. That was probably a good foul from a Ballinteer perspective, because there's a goal chance on there and you give away the free. Backed himself again, Archibald, to flick it over the bar. That was their final score of the half. Before then, Luke Brannock, sold a pup and then stuck this one over on the outside of the boot, which left it a 1-8 to 1-5 at half time. So Ballinteer would have gone in happy enough at half time. Sylvesters needed to come out with a start. They managed to do that. They got a free from Alex Wright, who was quite consistent what he did all day from free taking. Ballinteer got 2 on the spin there. Opened it up a little bit again. This guy had a good second half. Donnacha Carey, he finished with a goal as well. So 1-1 was his tally in the second half. But again, Sylvesters responded. So on the 39-minute mark, these couple of scores narrowed the gap down to 1-8 to 1-10. So there was 2 points between the teams. You were thinking, there might be an opportunity to push on here. That's that languid style of Wright we spoke about.
Outside of Wright, the only score that a forward from Sylvesters got from play was Keane Whitney's, the beautiful left-footed curler. So it just showed they didn't have enough spread of scores.
Yeah, 100%. And we were just talking about that spread. If you don't even it out, you can't bank on someone to kick frees for you all day long. And this is the ultimate death knell for Sylvesters. Great little move inside. Big hit. Manages to stay on his feet, and Carey sticks it into the net there. And then at that stage, it's 2-13 or 2-12 that Ballinteer have, playing 1-8. And from there, it was just a matter of seeing out the game. Credit to Sylvesters, while the game was gone from them, they probably created more of the chances in the last.
They missed 6 of their last 7 shots, so they were forcing it, but it just wasn't happening.
Yeah, they certainly created the chances. But again, I don't mean that the inevitability of a Ballinteer feeling we have this team won, just control the ball. But then Clabby ran into difficulty on a couple of the kick-outs. I don't think it was a free, but there was a chance there to get a score that was just tailed wide a little bit. But the kick-outs, when they were given away, look at the impetus it gives Sylvesters moving forward. They suddenly have numbers ahead of the ball. They're able to create a little bit of space. Again, a goal chance. You just wonder when this one landed, could he have pulled the trigger straight away? But a brilliant Clabby stood up, got a block on it, and managed to get it away in the end there. So credit to Sylvesters. They did stick at it in those last 10 or 12 minutes. It evened itself out. There was 2 scores apiece over that last 10 minutes or such. So the game really petered out to an end rather than any big climax. And credit to Owen Fitzpatrick. He's been a warhorse for Ballinteer over the years. He continues to carry through. Played Ballyboden last year in the championship, played Ballymun last year in the championship, so they get a chance to go again as those couple of teams and see if they can improve on what they did last year.
And it'll be whoever wins between those 2 teams. We're gearing up for that match, but as it stands, we're not sure who's going to be the victor in that game. Just another result in the Men's Senior 1 Go-Ahead Dublin Football Championship, and that's Coola 2-14, Clontarf 1-12, so a big start to the season for Coola there. That's it from myself and Coleman here. We'll be back again soon with another game from the Go Ahead Dublin Senior Football Championship.